Well, 7:30, June 28th, Thursday. Leaving camp half hour later than normal, but everything's all wet, so just kind of dealing with things. Looks like pretty much most people have left the shelter. Did pour down rain last night, and poured and poured and poured. Wind was blowing pretty good, but we managed to keep things going. Most things stayed dry. My tarp that I keep, my ground cloth I should say, that I keep underneath my tarp, it was covered with water and mud. Rain came down so hard it was splashing up underneath things. But even with all that, the hammock and the sleeping bag and that stayed pretty dry. A little dampness, but a lot of that dampness comes from just the moisture in the air and that, so it's no biggie. So now I'm headed off to a little town called Duncannon. I'll have to pass the other shelter that I didn't go to last night, that I probably could have because the rain held off until midnight. Literally, I think it was pretty close to midnight when it finally struck, maybe a little before. But today's supposed to be good, so I'm hoping things will dry out. My shirt, which I had laid out hopefully to stay somewhat dry, it got soaked, so starting out with a cold wet shirt seems to be pretty much typical on this trip. Every morning starts with cold wet clothes. And I expect to be in Duncannon somewhere around noon, where I'm going to stop at a place called the Doyle Hotel, not to sleep, but I understand they got really good food, so I'll probably have some food there. And then I got to grab a couple of meals to get further on. I've got enough for 3 days, but there's not a whole lot for resupply, so until I can get further down the line, I got to get to a larger town, and unfortunately, the further I go, the further away from the trail the towns get. So I'm not sure how I'm going to manage this out. I still trying to figure out ways of lightening up my pack, as it's heavier than I want. And now without my rain cover, when it rains, it's going to get soaked, which is going to add extra weight, which I don't like. So I got to figure out something. I don't know how I can do it. I need my rain gear for not so much when it rains, but after when it rains. And the rain pants are nice in camp to keep the bugs off. So, but they're too heavy to wear, so I need 2 pairs of shorts in order to swap out those, because when you get to camp things get really cold and wet. So it's just starting to, might have to figure things out. If this weather doesn't clear up and stay nice for any length of time, it's just getting to be ridiculous. Well, once again we go out of the trees and into the open. Look at those beautiful skies. We're gonna have nice weather today. It's gonna be hot. It's supposed to get up to the upper 70s. I hope the humidity stays low, but hey, that's the way it goes. Right now I'll take some warm air. Not sure, it looks like we got trees up ahead, so we'll probably be cutting back into those again. Another day of in and out for a while, who knows. I'll give you a quick update of what's going on. It's actually about 10 to 2. I have been in the town of Duncannon for about almost 2 hours now. Stopped and did a quick resupply, and then I stopped at the Doyle Hotel to have a really good hamburger. And now I'm at the 3D ice cream, where I am enjoying Sunday, and there it is there. After I finish this, I need to figure out where I am in connection to the AT and head on out of town. The nice weather that you're seeing at the moment did not stay true. In fact, if you look over there, you can see some pretty scuzzy clouds, and that's where I'm headed. I got rained on today, poured on, up on the ridge, playing in the rocks. So I'm soaking wet as usual. That seems to be the normal thing. So after leaving town, you gotta cross the rivers, then you head straight up a hill. Got a few switchbacks, but it's still pretty steep. But once you get up, you start running a ridge. This is the view off to the east side, and that's the trail behind me. I just came up or crossed, and that's where I'm headed. I'm going to be scaling the rocks. It's going to require two hands, so no picture taking. Another quick view from the ridge I'm on. This one's looking west. I don't know if that's the, that probably is the town of Duncannon that I went through. Because after we cross the river, we have to go back south, and then we loop up the hill and we head back north. A lot of screwing around. Been running this ridge since we got up here. Been slow going. Some of it's not bad, some of it's crappy. You can definitely tell from the sky we got a storm coming in again. I do hope I'm off of this goddamn ridge before that. I'm really getting tired of those storms up here on the ridges. Okay, there's the blaze. I gotta go down through here somehow. So, goodbye camera. We'll do a wrap up for, was it Thursday the 28th? I believe it's day 81 if I'm not remember right. Anyway, I'm at that Clark something or another Fisher, I can't remember now, this shelter. It's the first one you come to after you leave Duncannon. Day wasn't too bad. It was harder than yesterday. There wasn't a lot of flat, and what was flat was a lot of rock. So I wasn't real happy. It was that crappy rock where every time you step on it, it rolls around, and sharp edges, and can't keep your balance, can't keep decent footing. Pace is all screwed up, or no rhythm set. Got to town about noon like I'd planned, and decided not to hike up 6/10 out on my way to go to a real grocery store, since I only needed a couple of things. So I went on down to the quickie-mart and blew 3 times the dollars for less stuff. But anyway, then I stopped at the Doyle Hotel. I was told that was supposed to be a really good place to eat, and it was pretty good, decent food. Nothing super great, but it was pretty decent. 2 beers and hamburger and fries, deluxe hamburger, fries. Cost me $12, so it wasn't bad that way. I then stopped for a 3-scoop ice cream sundae. That was really good. Hit the 3D or 3B, I guess it's called, 3B ice cream parlor at the other end of town, which I have to go by anyway in order to get across the river. And once you get across the river, then you head straight up the hill and do some ridge running. Some of it's on good boulders, the kind I like. Some of it was bits and pieces, not too bad. I ended up at the shelter 3 o'clock. Could have gone on, easily could have gone further. But actually, no, I'll take that back. It was 4 o'clock. But I'd gone about 15 miles, and the next shelter, even though it was only about 6 miles, excuse me, I decided not to push it. The rain had been threatening on all day. It nailed me one time today. I was up on the ridge before town, and since the rain hit me last night really bad, everything was soaked. I hadn't had a chance to dry anything out. I had hoped to stop someplace today, but the sun went away and the clouds came in, and then the rain came with it, and then we got a little sun again, but by then I wasn't really in a spot where I could really dry things out without losing a lot of time. So I just went ahead and pushed on to the shelter. If I had gone to the next one, would have been a couple hours later. It was threatening rain again. Oh man, I don't know why I yawn when I start doing this. And so I just decided to bag it. This one's got a good water supply, the next one doesn't. And so I just went ahead and set camp up here. There's 2 others sleeping in the shelter tonight. Other than that, there's no camping ground or camping sites right by the shelter. It's kind of an old, very poorly laid out setup. Everything's on a hillside. The bear box is in shambles. The outhouse is in shambles. But hey, I guess it's better than not having any. So anyway, with that, tomorrow, another yawn. Tomorrow, I have no choice but to get to shelter. I'm going to have to do 24 miles tomorrow, I think it was, or 21, one of the two. There's one downhill and then a big uphill after that, right about in the middle of things. Tomorrow's reports for weather is 95 degrees. Gonna get hot. Don't really want to complain about that because of all the crappy weather we've had. Water is going to be questionable. So, oh geez, it could be interesting as to what ends up happening. So anyway, with all that, I'll wrap this up and we will complete the day.